No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey, gardeners. Hope you're all having a great week out in your gardens. I'm out here in the alleyway garden this cool, foggy morning. Still not cold enough yet for a frost, but I'm out here checking out our alleyway garden beds where we've got a few different things growing on over here. We've got some cabbages, purple cabbage here, as well as onions. We got a red onion growing up front. We definitely got some issues here with some caterpillars and such that I've been trying to pull off of these plants, but they're still getting some of those outer leaves for sure. And then over here we've got a couple more purple cabbages with some Chinese cabbage and more onions in the front row of the bed there. And then back behind it, still growing strong. It still hasn't been cold enough to take this spoon tomato plant out. And as you can see, it's huge. And I've actually taken half of it off, the half that kind of grew towards the front here. So this has been taken halfway down even. I've just never seen a tomato monstrosity like this before. But producing still more spoon tomatoes. I think we got plenty more still ripening up inside there that we're gonna have to come out and harvest. Still producing flowers like crazy all over the plant. But I'm sure real soon it'll be done in with some frost coming up here in the next couple of weeks for sure. But right on, everybody. Thank you so much for joining with us here today. We've got a great show for you. We've got a couple of really great guests. So right on, let's get growing. All right, all my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people, welcome to the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for joining with us here today. We've got a really great show. As I mentioned, we've got a couple of really awesome guests with us here today. We've got Amy Bauer from Front Yard Veggies joining with us here. Kind of not a return guest to the show, but we've interviewed Amy years ago when she lived in California. She's living over in Massachusetts now, so we'll catch up with her and see where her garden journey has taken her since we've seen her last here on the channel. Plus, we've got Anna from the Reckless Garden joining with us for our Are You Following Me coming up here in just a few minutes. So definitely stay tuned for these really great guests here coming up here on the show. Thank you again, everybody, for being here with us today. And if you can, definitely let's do this at the top of the show. Get it done with, hit that thumbs up, hit the like button there, as well as subscribe, bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and shows, live streams here on the Let's Get Growing show. And definitely share with all of your friends. Let them know that we're here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And just for this week, it's 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time now over in the UK for all of you over there. And again, I'm still not sure about changes over in Australia quite yet either, but we're going all through some time changes. It all should adjust back to where it should be, just an hour different for us as far as our daylight time. It's going to get darker. It's getting darker. I'm just not prepared for that. That's the one thing that, you know, again, it's still fun to be able to continue to garden and to continue to grow, but it's not fun losing all that daylight time, and especially when they just take an extra hour chunk away from you, you know, just like that when it comes to our time changes. But we'll get adjusted to those real soon, I'm sure. So right on, huge shout out to all of you who are joining with us on the replay. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for joining us on your time. And definitely drop into our comment section below. Let me know you're here. Let me know if you're a team replay or not. Let me know that down in the comment section. Just drop by, say hi if you want to. I'd love to hear about your gardens, how things grew for you this year. Are you growing into the fall? Tell me all about what's growing on over in your gardens right now as well too. So thank you so much. And if you are here with us live, definitely be dropping into our chat and join the conversation with everybody over there. And let us know you're here. Let us know if you got a garden channel or something too you'd like to get a shout out. We could possibly get a link out for your channel out there in our conversation, and give folks an opportunity to go over and follow you as well too. If you have any questions though for our guests coming up, I would love to hear all of your questions too. Drop those into the chat as well. Try to put those into like big bold capital letters, and then I can see those from the regular conversation going on, and they can try to make sure that we get those questions asked. And I love it when I see your guys' questions for our guests too. Join in the conversation for sure and drop in those questions. And definitely follow all the links down below in the description, and go check out our guests' links that we have down below. Go show them some support for coming here and joining with us and hanging out with us here today. And go and give them a subscribe, and maybe go leave them a comment on one of their more recent videos or posts or something, and let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. So right on. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Let's drop in and see who we got joining with us here today. I saw Janet was in the conversation early before the show got started. And I see we also have our friend Paul over at Guten Gardening with us as well. Right on, right on. I see Rick, he's joining us here too. Here's a bright and early guy for sure. Bright and early from the future, in fact, as we like to say. Rick joins us from Australia. So thank you, Rick, for getting up early. He says, I can't sleep. Well, it's good too that we're here for you when you can't sleep. But I know it is really, really early. And I'm not sure exactly what the time change was as well for you guys yet. I know over in the UK they did this last week. We're changing time coming up here. I think this next week or this weekend. Is it this weekend? I think it might be this weekend. Boy, time is going by fast. Right on, right on. I see we've got Elevated Growth Texas. Coach Chavi. How you doing, Coach? Joining us from West Texas. Thanks for jumping in the conversation. He says he's got some house chores and things to do. Right on, right on. Always great to have you, Coach. Thanks for being here with us. Thank you. I see we got Adam in the conversation as well. Hey, Adam, how are you doing? Joining us from right down the road from me, Central Point, Oregon here. Great to see you in the conversation, Adam. And David over at Bowtie Life I'm in the process of planting out our last peach tree. Right on, right on. Excellent, excellent. Always good stuff going on over there. Got a peach tree. I need to get another one myself. We had some really great production from our container peach tree this year, though. Just want to get one in ground for sure. Excellent, excellent. I see we got Natalie joining us from San Diego. Excellent, Natalie. Thank you so much for dropping into the conversation here. And again, if you are here joining with us today, definitely get into the conversation and drop in and say hi. And definitely, we always got to make sure we're saying hi to our good friend Jay Dixon, to our facilitator, our conversation audience facilitator, joining with us here today from Midwestern Ontario, Canada. And each week, Jay's with us in the conversation in the chat. Drop it in all sorts of great links and information as well on topics and things that we're talking about during the conversation. And Jay, as I mentioned too earlier, is happy to drop in a link for your channel if you have a channel that you'd like to get a shout out for. I see Jersey Girls in the conversation too. Thanks, Jersey, for being here with us. It's great to have you all here. And like I was showing you too out front early today, I was out walking around. It's still a little bit chilly here. Not quite any frosts yet, though. Nothing that's really, I mean, all of the other plants that usually are like the tomatoes and such that are going to really uh, uh, have a hard time when we hit our first frost coming up here. And those will probably do in the plants then are still going strong out there, still growing. So still got a few plants still going out there. Pretty much taken off whatever tomatoes that I was going to try to get off of the bigger tomatoes that we have. Some of the cherries are still producing, like I showed you. Even those spoon tomatoes, I'll probably go out and collect more of those, and then probably in the next day or two before frost there'll be more of those to collect up, along with a few of the other cherry tomatoes that I've got out there. But I've taken off most all of what I'm going to take off from the bigger tomato plants, so they're pretty much done for the year, even though, well, like I said, for those cherries and such, that we'll see how much more we might get off of them that can ripen up here. All right, everybody. Again, thank you. I'm just saying, thanks again for being here today. And again, like I said, we got really great guests here for us coming up here. And if, like you said, join in the conversation in the chat there, and we'll be right back in just one moment for our Are You Following Me?
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and author, Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
So, all right, everybody, go check out our show sponsor, Ivy Organic, link down in the description. Also, too, I just wanted to mention, everybody, I hope those of you who are in the chat who joined with us last night for our special 5th annual Halloween hangout, we featured the 1960s classic Little Shop of Horrors, and then we had a fun hangout with everybody. And some costumes, some costume changes. We had a few of our audience and guests join with us and showed off a few different costumes that they had for what was just a really, really fun Halloween hangout this year with everybody. So thanks everybody who did join with us. If you want to go back and check it out, you don't have to watch them go through the whole movie, but you can fast forward it to the hangout part if you want to go and check out all the different fun costumes that everybody got into last night. It was just a really great time. Again, thank you everybody for joining with us for that hangout. And if you didn't get a chance to check us out, also last week on the show, we had with us Kyle Haggerty from the Urban Farmstead joined with us for the show. Really great conversation with Kyle, and talked all about his farm or his backyard farm anyways, and also the gardens that he starts at the firehouses that he works at as a firefighter. So that was a really great discussion with him. And then we had Shawnee Groves with us for our Are You Following Me last Saturday, and I got to meet Shawnee. She's in our conversation a lot on the weekends as well. So it was great to have her on the show and celebrate her first 1,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. So really great conversations last Saturday. You want to check those out, as well as, we're here both Saturday and Sunday. So on the Sunday edition last week, we had our good friends John Kohler and Wendy Fan together for a great roundtable conversation talking about what's growing on in their gardens, some travels and speaking engagements and things that they've been out on for the last, I don't know, it's been a few months since we saw them. So we caught up with them and got them together. Those the first time we had them together for a great conversation on the show. Anyways, they've been on the show individually before. And of course, I've gotten to hang out with them many times at the heirloom expositions and different other projects and things as well too. So it was a great conversation last Sunday. You'll want to go back and check that out if you get an opportunity to as well. So right on, we got a great conversation right here ahead for you right now for our Are You Following Me?
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right. Let's welcome to the show. We got joining us Anna Cramer from The Reckless Garden here on the show with us. How awesome. Great to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I love to talk about gardening, so this is perfect.
Absolutely. We do too. It's just, again, gardening is so much fun. So many folks out there like yourself who are out gardening and sharing with everybody. Before we kind of really dig into the Reckless Garden or your gardening journey, let's just give you a moment to kind of introduce yourself to everybody, let everybody know a little bit about Anna Cramer.
Oh, yeah. My name's Anna. I have a couple of daughters. So yesterday was a huge day for a 5-year-old and 3-year-old. So Halloween,
yes.
Recovering now. But yeah, I'm really a home gardener. I don't have any formal garden experience, but I love to have fun in the garden, hence the name of the channel and everything. And yeah, I recently this past year I've moved a couple times in the last 2 years. And so now I've moved to hopefully my forever kind of garden space. And now I'm just in that process of like the first year garden building, which has been fun and challenging. So
yeah, absolutely. It can be a challenge, but what the rewards are just plentiful. There's so many different aspects of gardening that we get a lot of great rewards from. So, as tough as it can be sometimes, it's also just really greatly rewarding and fun. And that's why when we really get into it and we really start that real gardening bug really settles in, it's just something that again we'll do for the rest of our lives for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have hobbies like that are so just adaptable for any phase of your life too. And I've had several different size garden spaces, and there's so much fun and so much interesting about every different way that your garden looks or forms, and how much time you have to spend in the garden, you can like make it work for whatever your situation is, which I just really love about gardening. I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when we get so many great folks on here who, again, just share this really incredible passion for growing, no matter what kind of growing you're into as well. I'm more of like a food, small space gardener, but other folks, love to grow, if you love growing flowers or landscape gardening or other types of it, hydroponics, however you really like to do gardening, is just, really fun, really enjoyable. And that's really, again, too, just a really awesome passion to share amongst other friends with us here. So again, thanks for being here, and tell us a little bit more about your, how did you said you're kind of in your first year. How did this really gardening kind of catch on with you? What was kind of the start of your garden journey?
Yeah. Thank you for having me again too. So I've always liked flowers. Like when I was in elementary school, I wanted to have a florist shop and I wanted to be a florist. And I was always kind of like doing stuff with flowers. And my mom had a couple garden beds. But I really kind of like let that go when I was in college and stuff. I was not thinking about gardening. And actually, when my husband and I bought our first house, I didn't even think about it all. I looked at a house that had a huge garden and was like, no, that'd be cool, but whatever. And then we bought this townhouse with like 20 by 20 little backyard. And then in 2019, I just fell down the rabbit hole of the garden bug and just got started. So my first space was just this really small urban garden. I started doing a lot of containers. and really found that I really loved container gardening. And then in 2024, we moved for my husband's work for a year to California. So from Virginia to California, and I did like a garden in a year, which was quite an experience. And then,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And then now I'm back to Virginia, and now we have a couple acres. And so now I've been trying to figure out what that's going to look like for what I want to grow and what I want to do.
Yeah, a couple acres is quite a bit of, how much of that would you say would be your growing space, or what you're kind of visualizing at this moment?
Yeah. So it's,
I mean, that's a lot of space.
yeah, a good portion of it is forested, like pretty
Mhm.
heavily wooded. So not
Okay.
really usable. And we have a massive deer population.
Mhm.
So there are cleared areas, but I didn't realize
Right.
how much that would limit what I could do, because everything has to be enclosed. And I mean, these deer, like they eat the butterfly bushes, they eat everything that they're supposed to like not want to eat. They're
Mhm.
so I identified a couple areas now. And so I have two fairly large, super large for me, garden spaces. One is kind of up closer to my house, which I think is going to become more the flower garden because I can see it from the windows, and I'm starting to realize
Yeah.
that's really nice to have that. And then I have a back garden, which I actually kind of came back to my roots with containers, and I'm kind of going to do a lot of my vegetables in containers and stuff, because I just really like to grow that way.
Yeah. Again, I love container growing is kind of my big limitation. I don't have much for like in-ground growing space, just a few things along the alleyway. It's what we showed at the beginning there, showing a little bit of our fall garden that we've got out on the alleyway. But containers, really, I know I really, uh, again, I've grown almost anything and everything out of them. I think they're so versatile. I think people can, whether or not you have 2 acres or just a little bit of a, back little space at an apartment complex you're living in, you can always find something you can grow with containers. So really a big part of what I do as well.
Yeah, they're really fun and special, and maybe it's just because it's how I started growing. But even having land, we don't have great soil; it's very clay soil. So even having land, I finally, by the end of the season, got to the point where I'm like, I just am going to do a lot of these containers, because even though I could do in ground, I just like it. I just like to grow that way.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's always good to include even that, but again, you probably have some real ambitions for things that you can do in ground though as well, right? I mean, with space like that, I'm sure you've got a pretty nice visualization of something that you want to do as well.
Yeah, when I first moved here, before I realized the deer were going to be an issue, I
Mhm.
was like, I'm going to do an orchard. I'm going to have the berry patch over here. We're going to throw
Yeah,
things in. And then with the deer, it does limit a little bit of just like everything has to be protected.
yes,
So, or I think I'm going to get into deer resistant flowers. I think I'm going to start getting into
right.
just some of the stuff that they don't want to eat if I can figure it out. And I actually, it's funny too, because I love the smaller garden. I love the garden that's so manageable. I felt
Right.
like if you like, I always tell my friends and stuff, it's like, if you want a 10-minute a day garden, get like 4 2x4 raised beds. You can
Mhm.
grow everything you want to grow. If you want a tomato plant, a pepper plant, just a couple things, and you
Yeah.
can really stay on top of it. And it's just like not too much labor intensive.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm always not thinking about when it's folks like you have got the bigger land and all of that. There's definitely a real high chance that you're going to be dealing with deer. I'm lucky enough I don't got to deal with those, but again, that's you've got to create some real protections for your garden space. And again, that's what then becomes a limiting factor for the size of your garden, right?
Yeah, definitely. You have to put in those boundaries. And it's funny
Mhm.
because I came from very small, all my properties before this were very small. So like the boundaries were right there,
Yeah,
which would creatively, because I don't know, for me, the garden's such a creative outlet, and creatively it was kind of nice. Like these were
yeah,
these little boundaries, and then you build from within that. So
yeah.
now having more space, I actually kind of like, I think, coming back into a little bit more confined space, because it's just like how my brain works. Now I can lay it out. If anyone has followed me along on this journey, I mean, this year, design wise, took me quite a while. I did one of my gardens and I laid it out and I loved it and I still love it. And it was like the layout. And then this other garden, I even like took soil out of raised beds and ended up moving them because I just couldn't quite like figure out the layout that I wanted until really just recently. Now I feel like I've got it where I want it and where it's going to work and be manageable and hopefully contained in the deer fence enough that they can't get into it.
Yeah, it's all about keeping it nice and high so they can't jump over it because they'll figure a way. But I've talked with several folks who've got that similar issue, and it's just I feel for them so much when, because they could be really devastating to a gardening space, and
absolutely,
especially for like for you who's in your first year growing in this space. So I'm sure you're just learning so much about those sort of limitations that you're running into, right?
Yeah, I had a big all these aspirations. I was like, I'm going to do this big fall pumpkin patch. And it's kind of my own error, but I kind of messed up how I did my deer fence and they got in and they ate it all. And
oh my.
Yeah, that was a hard one. Usually I try to like laugh off the garden mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about it. Like the stakes are fairly low for me. I'm very fortunate. I don't have to feed my family for my garden. It's purely for fun. And so usually like I do often try things, I waste some seeds sometimes for sure. Like I definitely try to push the limits of how close can it be, or sure, that's part sun, like that'll be fine. We'll see what happens. It'll grow. So I usually try to push the limits and it works and I don't worry about it too much. But boy, when the deer ate like all my pumpkins, I was not happy. That was a hard one.
Oh my, I would be totally, for sure. I mean, I got a lot of space that's open to people who are walking through and all of that. So a lot of what I grow out there and in those more public spaces, I try not to worry about or think about too much, but every now and then I'm growing like a really nice melon or something that's really forming up and everything. So I start to get my hopes up, like maybe okay, no one's going to get this one. I'll be able to get this to myself, which, for the most part, I haven't had to worry about too much, but I think one of my best watermelon I've ever grown years ago got snagged up by somebody just before it was ripe too. So it wasn't good timing on their part when it came down to it. But so I've got those things where it's kind of like, kind of crushing me a little bit, but to go in and see, like a bunch of deer kind of get into your whole patch there for all your pumpkins and take them all and eat them all is just got to be completely I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's just the nature of gardening too. We had a lot of Japanese beetles and everything come through this year. So I feel like some years are worse than others. So I'm going to be actually kind of curious to see. There's something so unique about being in a garden space for the first time, because I've done this now like a few times, and that first year you don't quite know. You're like, is this because of the weather, or is this just how this is going to be here, or is this because of the pest pressure, or is this every year are we going to have this kind of an issue? So the deer probably are here to stay, but I'm very interested with some of the other challenges that I've had.
From season to season, from season to season, the gardens are, always a bit different. It's what I find with all the years I've been growing and doing the different things I've been doing in the garden is that, again, it's a continuing learning process because those are different things that kind of pop up, again, like you said, whether it's pest pressure, weather pressure, different things that are going to happen. But, again, those first year or two of your garden are really, kind of that learning experience just to get yourself established, really kind of observational gardening seasons for you, in a sense, to kind of really get down what's happening, where's the shade coming, or what time of year is, is it getting colder or warmer, for different plants and stuff. So that first year or two, just for learning anyways, right?
Yes, absolutely. You have to just take all those like losses and different things in stride because it just takes a while. to figure it out. It's been interesting for me because I've grown kind of like your garden. I've had some fenced in areas and very protected garden spaces. And now coming back, I'm basically in the same zone, but my gardens are a bit more, at least my front garden is a bit more exposed. And so I noticed like everything was growing a little bit later. You know, it didn't have that microclimate. So things were, I thought, oh, maybe this is like just because it's more open, it's more exposed. And kind of why I'm thinking my more backspace now for my vegetables and stuff. It's just not as windy back there. It's a little more enclosed with the trees. And I'm hoping that it gives a little bit more of that like cozy kind of microclimate that I'm used to and that I like for those plants back there. But yeah, I always like first year gardeners, it's like just roll with the punches because it's going to get better and better. Your soil is going to get better. And that was a big thing too. Starting over is just not having the soil. And we have like super clay soil. So it's pretty rough to even, once it dries out, to even try to dig anything is nearly impossible.
Yeah, it can be. And again, too. So anyways, again, so ultimately what and how did the garden really, as far as, your expectations were concerned, how did it turn out this year?
I don't think I came in with many expectations.
There you go.
I
That's
definitely
been
kind
mine
of
this year too.
Yeah, I kind of go with where the garden takes me. But I think I focused a ton on just building the actual physical spaces. So the fact that I got anything at all was like, I was thrilled. I was just happy. I got a few tomatoes. My daughters love to come out with me and like pick cherry tomatoes. Spoon tomatoes are one of our favorites. So as long as, we got a little bit, I got some perennials in the ground, and I feel like I'm just ready now for this next season to like hit the ground running. I think it was just kind of like this building phase this year. So, it wasn't a whole lot to show. It was a little hard kind of taking people out, like, there's not much going on, but stay with it because we're going to get there. Next year is going to be just, I know, a much more time to focus on the actual plants and more production and all of that kind of element of it.
Absolutely. Let's see here. I got a question here. Shawnee asks, since you have clay soil, what is your plan for amending or working to build the soil health, which will definitely be helpful in future gardens?
Yes. So one of my plans is to skip growing in the soil completely. So I am going to do container gardening.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm going to do quite a bit of container gardening. I have like big planters that I like to grow in. So that's an element of that. And then really my plan is just to kind of build up with more compost layers. I probably should look into some different things that I can add to the soil to help break it up. But I'm hoping to really get into composting more. I have we have a couple bunnies. And I'm going to try to use their manure and everything to build more compost and just kind of like sort of not strictly no dig, but kind of like that method of just layering it on over and over again. I'm not in a super rush, just let it kind of keep building up. And then, I figure eventually we'll get there.
You thought about building good raised beds as well?
I have
something
a few.
Something you can really enclose as well too.
Yeah, I have a few. I have a mix. So one of my gardens is a mix of raised beds and just in ground, straight in the ground beds. And one of my gardens is going to be containers and then a couple raised beds. Even in the in-ground spaces, in my front garden that I have the in-ground beds, I did do the method with the cardboard and then you put like just a little layer of compost and soil on top. And I was shocked between digging in those beds and then just, I wanted to plant a perennial outside of those beds right into the soil. I was shocked at how much softer just that tiny layer.
Yeah.
It already changed. You could actually dig versus being like trying to dig into cement between the two spaces. It was really, I was impressed.
Yeah, you can be really surprised at how fast your soil will change and adapt to new positive things like compost when you add to it. I mean, it really is the way to go. All right, let's see. And Shawnee was asking it here too. Maybe as we're thinking about future gardens, is your gardening for fun, for health, for skipping the grocery store? You know, is it for production or beauty? Uh, doesn't
Yeah,
sound like you
purely for
sell.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the fun of it. Uh,
Hmm.
I I like to challenge myself and try different things, but yeah, I just like to be out in it. I like to
Yeah.
spend time doing it. I like to plant a lot of plants that you
Hmm.
can just like eat straight out of the garden. So like going out and be able to pick some cucumbers and just eat them, or
Yeah.
and flowers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, too, you got into gardening. You're growing. What inspired you to start up the Reckless Garden and start sharing with folks and yeah, and bringing others
Yeah.
into your garden space?
Mostly that I just like to talk about gardening
Yeah.
and have community with other gardeners. And I realized that my friends and family can only hear about like my tomatoes for so many times. They're very, very supportive, but the garden, like real gardeners, like gardeners just get it. So yeah, just to kind of connect with people and share the garden. And I do like that it gives me a really kind of easy way to also look back and kind of like record what my gardens have been.
Hmm.
Because I don't think I would have had any kind of a record that I do if I
Yeah.
hadn't started sharing it. So I love that. And sometimes I will, if I can't remember a plant name, I'm like, I know I made a reel about this somewhere. So I do like that. But yeah, just it's so amazing. I've met so many people through it, and just there's so many awesome supportive gardeners out there. It's been really fun. I've had such a great experience on all the different social media platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here for me. I've been doing this now 9 years, 8, 9 years now, sharing and doing my YouTube channel and everything. And it's just been more of a really of a fun experience for me to try out to do new things when it comes to like social media and sharing and making videos and stuff. So I have a lot of fun with that, and it just kind of mixes in with my other passion for growing and gardening too. So it's such a great combination of them. And then I didn't really expect ultimately when I got going and got started how big and wide span the community was.
Hmm.
And again too, it's been just also another real wonderful thing we've been able to do is to be able to reach out and to get to meet so many awesome people in this community. And yeah, so again, the Reckless Garden, what kind of inspired the name?
Yeah. So the name, it started in my little tiny townhouse garden because nothing was ever according to garden rules. There was no space. So I was always like pushing sun requirements, pushing space requirements, trying things out, and just kind of doing whatever I possibly could. And then as my garden space has changed, it's become more my like philosophy around gardening, I
There
guess,
you go.
because I do this for fun. And I am not in my personal life, I am not reckless. I'm a rule follower. I do all that. But when I'm out in the garden, it's like if I want to go plant peas on Valentine's Day and see what happens if they make it, like I'm just gonna go do it because it sparks joy and it's fun. And so I think there's like a real creative freedom that I really like. And I try to share that a little bit with my messages, like just go for it, try
Hmm.
it. Let's try out this container. I do have things that I know work and I will share with you like my tried and truths, but then also it's like, I'm going to go out there and just
Yeah.
try whatever I want to do and have fun with it. I don't want people to have the expectation that I know all the answers. I don't. I'm just enjoying my garden.
Hmm.
And that's really what the Reckless Garden has become. My only spot to be reckless in life, but I love it.
Yeah. And I always find those to be the more fun channels, the more fun experiences when you're out kind of exploring what other people are doing in sharing and creating videos around gardening, is those channels where folks are just kind of taking you along with what they're doing and learning, as well as, sharing the things that they have learned. It's such a
Hmm.
great combination versus, the pure expert gardener that's giving you that. Some of those are some great channels and great information that you can get out there, but ultimately I really enjoy those channels made by creators like yourself who are just out here sharing your experiences, taking us along with what's going on and growing on in the garden and everything. But yeah, definitely. Right on. Let's see here. I know Jay, I was asking about, have you ever thought about trying or consider adapting hugelkultur? You know about hugelkultur?
Yes, I'm not super familiar, but I do know a little bit about it. Yeah, I should probably look into that more, especially with my clay soil. It would probably would be something. I have a little bit of that going on in
Hmm.
my raised beds because I have quite abundance of like logs, and our property just was full of a lot of stuff. So I've done a little bit
Yeah.
like some, not hugelkultur, but some like layering of different layers, and that's probably something I should look into more. Be interesting.
Yeah, I've got a couple of different ones. I've got like this kind of old raised bed we kind of set up as a hugelkultur bed on the side alleyway. And then we have these big, like 45-gallon felt grow pots that I got
Mm,
from this company. And so again, that's a lot of space to be
that's great.
filling up, right? 45
Yeah.
gallons worth of space. So a couple of them, we decided we're going to fill them up with logs and do some hugelkultur with those. And they've been out there a couple of years now, so I'm kind of interested to kind of get down in there and see what's going on and
Yeah. Have
everything
you
after a
dug
while and see
in?
if it's really been working or not.
Yeah. Have you tried to dig down into them and see how far
Not
you could
yet.
get? Yeah.
Not yet. I think that'll be fun, and this will be a fun video for this spring or as we're getting things set out on for the next year's garden on the alleyway space. I got to do some adjusting and moving some things around, so it's kind of an opportunity to get out there, kind of dig in and check them out and see how it's going. I'm pretty sure, as the plants have shown this year, did surprisingly well. So, and again, without really anything, I did kind of a similar no expectations gardening myself this year,
Nice.
even though I got a lot of different spaces and things going on, so everything did grow pretty well out of there without any amendments or any sort of added composting or anything like that. So, maybe, down in there, that's what, it's built up just the right soil biology with all of that wood breaking down and the soil being able to take up a lot of those extra nutrients and things that they talk
Yeah.
about. So, maybe it's a little successful. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I just kind of interested to see what it looks like, maybe in those first layers or so. Is it
Yeah.
really breaking down really well?
I'd be curious too. And I've heard a lot of people talk
Yeah.
about how the logs can absorb nitrogen when they're decomposing and actually like rob that from your plants, but it doesn't sound like
Sounds
that's been an issue.
right. Yeah.
So that's really good to hear because I have put some logs in the bottom of my raised bed. So it's encouraging
Hmm.
to hear that that's not been a problem.
Yeah, and I've seen plenty of other folks do all sorts of
Yeah.
different types of hugelkultur stuff that really works as well too. Right on, really good question. Let's see here. Let's finish up with I think Shawnee's got a question or two real quick. We'll combine together here. She asked, "What's your goal for your channel 2025? Maybe you've met it and want to share in for 2026." So yeah, did you have any goals for this year, or maybe some things that you're going to talk about as you head into 26? Can't believe it's the end of
Yeah.
the year already.
I really
Mhm.
share my garden on the channel really for the love of it. Just to communicate with people. I work with a few
Mhm.
brands, but it's really I try to keep that very selective to what I really actually use and like, and really just like to share because it's fun. It's a big hobby for me for the most part. So my goal was just to get this garden going off the ground, and I feel like it was a little bit of a haphazard year. I'm actually glad that we're talking now at this point in the year because now I feel like for 2026 I am really ready to like hit the
Yes.
ground running, be I try to be consistent, but I've had some lapse in like how often I'm getting out content. So I do feel like in 2026, I'm like, let's go. Let's get this garden like going now. It's built. It's here. I don't want to move anything anymore. And so now I'm like ready to just really just share it. And that's my biggest goal, is just to have fun. It always has to be fun for me. I always have to be enjoying it. That's my biggest focus.
Yeah, that's one of the things I kind of, I like about this year too, is there's this kind of combination of this past year's garden really kind of is finishing up. We've seen what we've done, and now here in the next week or two, all of these seed catalogs are going to start showing up. And so the next few weeks as we move into this next year will be all about getting to plan from what we just learned in our garden this year and start getting things going. And similar to you, I did, just didn't kind of not too much. I mean, I did a few mainstays in the garden, added a few extra things because I couldn't resist. But ultimately just kind of did a no expectations. We'll see how things grow. And surprisingly, we did have a lot of things. Again, I wasn't expecting anything really, but things actually surprised me still. And ultimately had an okay garden. There were still some things to, again, years into this, I'm still learning each year, and excited about what we get to do this next year with some of the things that I figured out from this year's experience.
Oh yeah. Every year there's so much to learn, which is great.
Absolutely. So right on. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Just really great to have you on the show with us, and getting to learn a little bit more about the reckless gardener, or the reckless garden anyways. But thanks again for being with us here today. And for everybody who's watching, definitely get into the description below. We've got links to Anna's channel, The Reckless Garden. Go over there, subscribe to her channel. And like I always say, go and drop in a comment on one of her recent videos and let her know you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. So again, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right on. We'll catch you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits. Oh my, right on everybody. Thanks again to Anna for joining with us from Reckless Garden. Really great to have her on the show with us today. Like I said, definitely go and check out her channel in the link below. I'll just mention everybody. I'm trying to get, we've got a kind of a new setup, and I don't know if anybody's really noticed. We've got a different kind of camera view. I got a different camera now that we've got set up, and it's really showing a bit more. So I don't know if everybody noticed getting to see more of the Monstera now. It's kind of stretched out a little bit, and also because of the setup, I'm trying to figure out some things. So the camera versus what I'm looking at and all of that. So still got a couple of things I got to get used to with this new setup here, but again, great to have you all here with us today. And also I do want to remind you all too, we'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to be here again for our Sunday edition of the show. And tomorrow we've got an appointment with our good friend, Dr. Jeff. Dr. Jeff's going to be with us again tomorrow, Jeffrey Pierce, and talking more about gardening as medicine. Him and another doctor put together this cool ebook starter guide kind of thing with some really great pointers for folks to get into gardening for your health. And there's so many awesome health benefits with gardening that we kind of touch in with Dr. Jeff when he joins with us on the Sunday edition every couple of months. So right on, everybody. We've got a really awesome, I'm really looking forward to our featured guest today. So let's get moving right along with it.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
So, all right. And as I mentioned already last week, as we were promoting the show, and this week, our next guest is someone I've been waiting to have a conversation with for a little while now. We haven't seen each other for a few years. I got to go visit Amy in her driveway garden down in Santa Monica years ago. And it's great to see you. How you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Really
I got to
good.
do a little like DJ situation. Hold on.
All right. I think you
All
sound
right.
great though.
Okay. This is, I feel like
Can you hear me?
I can hear you okay. Anytime I use
Perfect.
this, I always feel like I'm in a call center.
Yes,
Right?
there you go. Right.
It's my husband's gaming headset, but I use it if I have to do a podcast because the audio, I hope, is good. It's so nice to
Yes.
see you. My
I actually
goodness.
worked in a call center back when I was like 17, 18, when I first lived here in Southern Oregon the first time around, and I remember having those on
Brings
there.
back
Or,
memories.
or it makes me also think of like maybe a helicopter pilot.
Yes,
Right?
I know. It's funny if I
We're
have
really
both.
using our imagination.
Yeah, I hate having both on. I got to do the one on, one off so I can hear, because otherwise I can't hear myself speak. It's very peculiar. Anyways,
Right.
it's so nice to see you. The last time we saw
Yeah.
each other was, oh my gosh, 2018.
Like 18 maybe. I'm
Yeah.
thinking like
So a lot has
2018 is
changed
around
since
there.
then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I met you again. You were in Santa Monica, I believe,
Yep.
and you had this really cool driveway garden set up that we did a little tour of and checked out some worm farming and all these
Yeah.
really cool things that you were growing in this really cool small space garden that you had there. I will share before we really get into it. I do want to kind of share one thing about that day I was thinking about too, other than me forgetting my equipment there and having to drive all the way back to go
You
get
know
some
what?
stuff. But it was a big lesson for me in doing interviews and being outside doing interviews with folks, because where we set up, it was right directly in the sun, and I got the worst sunburn on my face that day from that interview. I just remember the next 2 days just being like, oh, my face is burnt.
Oh, you live and learn. I
Live
know.
and
I
learn.
know.
That was my big lesson with that interview for sure, was definitely be aware of where you're placing yourself under the sun.
I know that was such a different environment growing, because a
Yeah.
couple years after that we moved. So I'm from Massachusetts, and we moved during COVID. We moved back to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So I think I was a little cocky when I first started gardening. I said, "Oh my gosh, I have a green thumb. I can grow everything. This is amazing." Meanwhile, everything wants to grow in Southern California. It's sunny.
Yes.
Aside from the lack of rain, which is problematic, if you have irrigation, you're
Mhm.
good. So that was a
Yeah.
challenge. But honestly, I really enjoy being on the East Coast gardening far more than the West Coast, because I like the break. I love winter. I love the
Mhm.
snow. I love the rest. And I think it's just, I burnt out gardening in Southern California because it was just,
Yeah.
you could do it year round. So I just felt obligated to. And it was
Mhm.
hard to take a break.
Yeah. I guess that's a great point because, I'm constantly at times, especially during the winter time, I'll be following folks from, Southern California or some more of the other southern regions,
Yeah,
and they're gardening and growing or planting different things that I just have no chance in
I
doing.
know.
And I'm like, I get kind of jealous sometimes, but you're really right about the
Grass is always
idea that
greener.
it's a great time to kind of take a bit of a rest, to kind of pull back a little bit, even though there's some greens and fall cool season stuff that I like to get going and have growing out there. It's not as much as the regular garden throughout the rest of the year, because it's kind of cool to pull back and to kind of take a little bit of a break,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, so you grow some stuff in the fall. See, you're better than I am. I tried that the first year and I said,
Yeah.
by this point of the year, I just don't want to. I just sort of, I look forward, I turn, my husband calls it my eye of
Exactly.
Sauron. I turn my
Right.
sights to indoor projects
Exactly.
like crafting and knitting and DIY stuff in the house that just gets
Mhm.
neglected because I'm just outside, April through November.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, not very much that I grow. I'm doing a little bit more this year than what I have before, just kind of trying to test and it's a few things out. But I'm with
Nice.
you though too. Over many winter times, even leading up to now, I've just kind of taken that opportunity to kind of let it be a break because of
Yeah.
doing so much throughout the regular gardening season and other
Yeah.
projects, and things can stack up. It's great to be able to kind of pull back a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's just such a great opportunity for certain greens, and I love a good salad too, so
Oh,
it's hard to resist.
I will say I'm trying. I have one huge, so I do in-ground gardening now
Yeah.
because we have a huge, it's about
Yeah.
2,000 square feet. So it's very different all around. But I had one bed of pretty much all kale varieties that just did spectacularly well. Somehow didn't have any, I don't spray anything, and no
Yeah.
cabbage moths, nothing. I mean, we had some
Wow.
moths, but I don't know what happened.
Wow.
With the ecosystem was firing on all cylinders. So it looks beautiful. So I'm going to try to put up a couple makeshift little hoop houses in a
Yeah.
little polytunnel to just see if I can get them through the winter.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
extent of my winter gardening.
Yeah, I don't got much more than that, I suppose.
Yeah.
The
Because
things I showed
remind
at
me
the
where you're
beginning,
located.
Southern Oregon. So
Okay.
kinda like
Yes.
right in the middle of the West Coast,
Okay.
basically.
So what zone does that put you in?
I think, we are 8A.
Okay.
Could
Oh,
be 8B, but
that's nice.
yeah. So we don't dip down too low. I mean, it can get pretty cold. We get some good frosts and freezes and that sort of thing, but yeah, for the most part, it's a pretty mild, winter time here. So again, I've get lack of light, besides
That's
that, I get plenty of like spinaches and different more cold hardy vegetables and stuff that can make it through the winter
That's
time.
really nice. 8 always seems like a
Yeah.
great zone. Like you get a little chill, but there are certain things that you can
Yeah.
grow that
Yeah.
here we're just kind of out of luck with.
Yeah. A little bit colder up there you're in Massachusetts again, right?
Yes. Yep. Smack dab in central Massachusetts. And it gets cold. Like cold.
Really?
But again, I
And
love it. So I
yeah, all
don't
those
mind.
years in California, I bet you that was a bit something to get used to, right?
I know. Well, I really thought when we moved out there, I was like, oh, this is great. We get the best season year round. And then I don't know if it was since my frontal lobe developing, becoming an adult, gardening, but I really, since moving back, have such a profound appreciation for seasons and really just like
Mhm.
observing everything change from week to week. And I think when I was younger, I would look outside in the winter when we lived in New York and think, ugh, all the trees are just dead. It looks ugly. And now
Yeah.
I think, oh my gosh, this is just the cycle of nature and it's not dead. They're just beautiful and they're resting and it's all very poetic. So I get very like
Yeah.
emotional about seasons now. I'm like, oh, the leaves are falling and
Yeah.
everything is settling in for winter.
I know. I mean, I can imagine falls though too. That's one experience I've always wanted to have. I've been to New York. That's about
Oh,
as far north that I've been, but not
it's
in the fall
magnificent.
time when just the colors are changing and yeah,
Yeah.
just those New England falls have got to be something. And I can
I
see that, being a little emotional too, as things are changing and
I
like,
know.
oh,
This is like peak the past week or two, and this has been kind of a bad year for foliage, but we have along our street just big old oak trees and hickories and maples, and it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. I don't know if you can see, oh, the lighting's bad, but it's spectacular.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine. But and it's kind of the same way here for us. We do got plenty of like fall color changes and everything, but every time you see those images from New England, it's just really spectacular. So that's got to be a great experience.
Hold on, I just saw this question pop up. So, was there a
Mhm.
plant that thrived in California but failed on the East Coast?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
so
I
glad
was
you
gonna
asked.
say
Thank you, Bowtie Life in the Garden. Um,
it.
summer squash, zucchinis, yellow squash.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys deal with this there. I didn't have it in Southern California. Squash vine borer.
Oh.
My arch nemesis. It's to the point where I don't even like growing zucchini. I've tried resistant varieties. It's it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
gross. And it's just such a bummer because you'll look at this plant, you're like, wow, it's thriving, it's great. I'm getting zucchinis. And then you look at it the next day and it is just dead. And I tried one year. This is really gross. Sorry if you don't
No,
like
it's a
bugs. So people said I shouldn't have listened because it's so gnarly. They were like, "Oh, if you just slice open the stem, you can put a little BT in, or you can either take out the larva." Oh my god, I want to barf. You can take out
oh
the larva,
gosh.
and I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, cool. I'll try it." I have a video, and when your phone pops up like, "Oh, this time a few years ago, it was just on my home screen one day, and it was the photo of the squash vine borer larva, and it was one of the
Just
gnarliest things.
horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
am plagued by that here, as are all my gardening friends on the East Coast, pretty much. I didn't have a single issue. I grew so many summer squash in California. Here, I pretty much only grow winter squash varieties that are squash vine borer resistant because
Hmm.
it's terrible. Do you get that in
Yeah.
Oregon?
I don't have squash
Ugh.
vine borer that I've found, but I do have the plague of squash bugs themselves. They're just an
Yeah.
awful leaf-footed bug that just eats up the plants from the center out. And the only thing I can really hope for over the last couple of seasons is that I can get the plant big enough before they really start getting going,
Yeah.
because then it can kind of outgrow what their damage is to the plant.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
And some people also say they
and I
will.
try as hard as I can to keep as much of them
Yeah.
off as possible, but it's just they're a plague in a way. I
Yeah.
mean, it
I'm
seems
a
like
very
every time you take them off, they double in size in a way
Yeah.
in their
It's
populations.
too much. It's
That's
too much. So
crazy.
at this point I don't even bother because I'm a lazy gardener. I don't have a lot of time to be out there. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they
Yeah,
don't I would love to have hours a day in the garden, but they don't let me do that at this point. So it's sort of survival of the fittest out there, and
right.
some stuff gets cut.
David was saying, he says, I have major squash vine borers, total crop failures, and he switched to loofah
Loofah.
and then eats them young. They're a perfect substitute
I have
and
heard that.
practically impervious to pests.
I've
Mm,
grown them only for the sponge. I have
right.
heard that you can eat them young. I have not done so. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
I
try
guess just
that.
like a little cucumber or something, but yeah,
Yeah.
that just there
There's a
aren't too many options, again, like you said, other than growing the other varieties, the more resistance to vine borers,
Yeah,
and
it's
and finding varieties that have kind of good resistance to them anyways, and going with those. It's just
larva
like
extraction.
it's probably the one that I hear the most from most people about is squash vine borers. Every time we have
Yeah.
someone on, people are like, tell us how you deal with them,
Yeah.
you
One thing I've
know?
heard is if people have said, and I didn't try it this year because it was just a really difficult year in general for gardening. They say if you sort of stagger the planting, like plant 2 weeks later than you normally would and that your
Yeah.
area says you should, you can sort of avoid the squash vine borer. I think they're
Right.
moths, or I'm not an entomologist. I
You
don't know.
just got to get past the time
You
they're
can get
laying
past
there.
when
Yeah.
they emerge and when they're laying,
Yeah.
and then you should be okay. But do you have
Yeah.
2 flushes of it? Yeah. I mean, I've seen people will wrap the stem in tin foil. Ugh,
Yeah. Shawnee
gross.
says that
Most resistant. Oh, planting mustard. Yeah, I
yeah,
talked to
that's what I
another
was saying,
gardener
mustard.
who said he plants marigolds around all of his squash, and he doesn't have an issue with them. And this was a
Yeah.
local guy in town. So
Things that kind of push them away or
yeah, but it's too
or
at this point,
like I
it's just
said,
too
it's a
finicky for
lot about
me.
timing. Is I've talked with our
Yeah.
good friend Gardner Scott, who joins with us on every second Sunday of the month, and he answers a lot of our garden questions like this. And his biggest advice when it comes to these things is similar to what you were saying. Is just trying to find the timing or the way to get and disturb the life cycle of the pests themselves. And
Yeah.
there's some like I've been dealing with this just awful little bug that gets into my peas.
Oh.
Weevil. It's a weevil, and they're
Ugh.
just awful, and they just destroy so much of my pea seeds and all of
So
that too that I
unfortunate.
grow and everything.
Weevil always sounds like such a cute little word, like a little
Yeah.
weevil, but they're not. They're not cute. So it's a misnomer. Little
Yeah,
weevil,
yeah, weevil for sure.
little weevil.
I think
But
you
this
got
is
little children's books about weevils, and it just
yeah,
makes, yeah, like you
yeah.
said, makes them sound all cute and
I know.
everything.
Meanwhile, they're just decimating your peas.
Yeah, yeah. And then like Jay says here, planting late in the season has helped somewhat with squash
Yeah,
borer.
I think that's what I got to try next year. I mean, that's the thing. I still plant them because I still have zucchini seeds, and I'm a sucker. I do love a nice zucchini, but yeah, that's been the biggest bummer overall. But other stuff does so well here. Like leafy greens, I don't know if it's the soil, but they just flourish, like Swiss chard,
Yeah,
collard greens, kale, spinach, like does it does really, really well. And
yeah.
it's still growing. I just picked some. We have chickens, so I always like to give them little. That's why I grow so many leafy greens, because I like to be able to give some to them. So I just
Yeah.
picked the bottom leaves from a bunch of plants, and I was like, "Oh, these are just good leaves that I should be picking for us, but you guys deserve a little treat too."
Yeah. A little sharing, right? For
Little
sure.
sharing. They get so happy.
All right. Shawnee asks, it sounds like you had a rough pepper year. Are you thinking about ways to get a better harvest for next year?
Yeah.
Or any other reflections from the season?
Yes. By rough pepper year, I think you are referring to the fact that for the first year ever, got no peppers. I did not get one single
Oh
pepper.
my.
And
Oh
well,
no.
no. That's all on me for 2 reasons.
Mhm.
Well, it's partially on Mother Nature. So we had a very usually I get my peppers in the ground on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
It it was still like 34 degrees for our low by Memorial Day. So I think I finally got the peppers in the ground maybe like June 20. I was a month late with everything all season because we just had such a cold early June. And then we had wild temperature swings even into July. We had like a 40-degree night in July, and then it would be 97 during the day. So I think the young seedlings just couldn't.
Mhm.
I think it was too much stress early on. Also, I just let the weeds get way too out of control, and I think the weeds crowded out all of my pepper seedlings. And if any did grow, I couldn't see them because everything was covered by weeds. It was a very
Yeah.
demoralizing year in the garden because I was late.
Mm.
It just was not. I wasn't getting what I was used to getting throughout the
Yeah.
season. And then I just kind of threw up my hands, and both of my kids were home with me all day, every day, all summer. So it was just a lot, and I was like, something has to give, and that is the garden. So whatever grows is what I'm going to be happy with. But I think I mentioned in an email, it was the worst gardening year I've ever had in 10 years of gardening. But it was still great. Like I still love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes what can happen with people who are new to gardening is they can see people with big flourishing gardens and they look perfect and they're getting these harvests. And I just really don't want people to get discouraged because I
Mhm.
promise you, even those people have things that are not performing well or failures. And I always think like you can learn so much from failing and things not growing.
Yeah.
And you can't be perfect at gardening. Like some people, sure, I'm sure they can be, but I know I'm never going to
Mhm.
have a perfect garden because I just don't care that much. Like I don't mind if I have some chipmunks eating some things or if I have birds pecking at my plants cuz they were all here
Mhm.
first. So we have a fence, but I'm not going to spray things to high heavens, and I don't want my whole garden getting eaten, but I don't mind sharing. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
try to garden with like nature in mind and pollinators. So with that, I think you're going to inherently sacrifice a little bit of aesthetics.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And again, like you said, I find it similar, and we were kind of touching on this as well too with Anna just a little bit earlier too, is that I myself kind of had one of these no expectations gardens this year, just kind of to work on other projects and stuff. And I think you also mentioned too that you called yours good enough gardening. I like
Yes.
that phrasing, good enough gardening.
Yeah, I write a weekly free newsletter. It's just
Yes.
on Substack. We could put a link to it. And I sort of I like that type of writing because I also have a website, but I'm sure for websites you sort of have to write in an SEO way, otherwise Google doesn't know you exist. And I don't
Mhm.
like writing like that.
Right.
So the newsletter is a nice way to sort of just flesh things out and talk about what's working and what's not working and what I'm growing. And I did one earlier this summer and I called it Good Enough Gardening. And it was just like, hey, if you have little kids or if you are at a point in your life where you are really busy, but you still want to garden,
Mhm.
do it. Just know that there are some things that you can sort of skip over and get to it when you get to it. So, like, I didn't edge all my garden beds this year. Does it look better when you do it? Of course. But I didn't have time. So I said, that's fine. I'm probably the only one who cares about it. I don't live in an HOA.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. And I
Yeah.
always try to use this metaphor of I don't know where I heard this. This is not my own. But if you're juggling, you have to know which balls are glass, like which ones you cannot let drop because they will shatter, and which ones are plastic. So if you're juggling a
Mhm.
bunch of balls, there are certain garden tasks that are plastic balls and edging garden beds. Honestly, even pruning some things. Like, should you do it? Yeah, but is it the end of the world if you don't get to it? No, it's
Mhm.
fine. Nature has succeeded without humans for a while, so it's gonna do its thing. Um,
Yep. Yep.
so, if people are very busy, don't get overwhelmed by all the things you should be doing because you are the one at the end of the day who decides that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not that serious. And it can be, and that's not to detract from people who love spending so much time in the garden, but I don't have that time to spend right now, but I still wanna have a
Yeah.
garden.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my garden's a big centerpiece of what I do, especially throughout the season and all of
Yeah,
that. But at the same time, I've got all these other things going
I
on.
know.
I work full time. I've got, other projects and things that I've got going on. So, I plan out, and I planned this year just, simple mainstay things. Again, peppers, I love growing every year. Some tomato varieties, mostly cherries, and a few other things. We put some beans out there, and then I did cucumbers. And kind of
Ooh,
as an example of what you're saying about nature, things that I have a trellis. I like to trellis them up and get them to wander up this
yeah.
cool wood trellis that I have and everything. But I miss those days. when
Yeah.
the plant was getting big enough and long enough to where I could
Yeah.
get and lock it up and get it into a phase of climbing up this thing. But again, there are cucumbers, and I think there was a melon in there as well too. And they just sprawled out, and I ended up having them sprawling out and all their plants all over this corner of the garden space,
Yeah.
which ended up looking all right. I couldn't access the back
I
corner
know.
very well, but
Yeah, that's
so instead of it going up this trellis, it still grew out and it still grew a bunch of stuff, even though I didn't do much with it or what I
yeah.
intended to do with that space,
And
and it's
there's always
still.
next year,
Mhm.
right? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
learn from it, it's like, "Oh yeah, mental
Yeah,
note."
yeah.
For instance, I didn't stake any of my tomatoes. I didn't do tomato
Yep.
cages. I usually stake them and just tie them up. I didn't get to do it. I kept saying, "I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow."
Yep.
And then I just didn't. And I still got tons of tomatoes. I probably got about a third as many as I usually do,
Mhm.
which is still plenty. But
Yeah.
that one for sure, I'm making a underlined note in my gardening notebook that's like, "Stake your tomatoes. Do not do not
Right.
let 2025 happen again," because they just get everywhere and they grow, but it's just a mess, and then you're stepping on them
Yeah.
and oh, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one variety that I didn't get. Again, too, the intention was to build up a nice little wood trellis for it,
Yep,
like I have for a couple of the elevated beds that I have on the back patio. I have a couple of
nice.
these really cool wood kind of tower trellises I built up for them. So I wanted to do that in this other space, but I didn't get to it again. And so again, I had this tomato bush that's just
Yeah.
sprawled out and growing without a trellis everywhere. And then we got a couple of other varieties that are trellised up and everything. So it's quite you got 1, 2, 3, and then this one that's just going all crazy all over the place. But
Yeah.
again, it's all right. They'll produce still. You'll still get some out of there. You're just, again, similar with these vine type things. We're not going to be able to access or be able to get into areas very well because they've sprawled out on us.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to
Right.
do. We had expanded the garden. I think when we moved in, I forget the dimensions, but we did really well the first few years. And I said, let's go a little bigger. And then we were staking out where we are going to do the fence. I was like, let's go bigger. Let's go bigger.
Right.
And it was the first year of planting the entire space.
Right.
And I think I bit off a little more than I could chew at this point in my life with the little kids and with all the stuff. So
Yeah.
next year I'm going to plant some more flowers, not have so many things that I need to
Yeah.
baby early on.
Yeah, that is that's the thing, is really being able to plan for certain varieties, certain things, and what kind of time that they take. It's something I'm always running into because, again, I'll still do the tomatoes. I'm not going to do all of these other things that I'll usually do this year, but I still had to do the tomatoes. I still had to do the peppers, and they
Yeah.
take a bit to get going. You gotta kind of care for them and get them along their way until you can get them, again, for us, in containers and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a whole caring for these plants process. But we still, is as though I didn't again do as much as I would normally do with most of my plants and everything. We still ended up with some things that turned out all right when it
Yeah.
comes down to it. Like I said, you go in with the things without as many expectations, and your plants and nature in general, like you're saying though too, will just kind of surprise us a bit.
Yeah. That's why I do like winter, because it's all the dreaming. It's like, oh, this is what the garden could be, and these are the plants,
Hmm.
and it's all the planning and dreaming without the realities of like pests and weeds. Oh my goodness
The
gracious.
pictures in our mind are just
Yeah.
perfect, aren't
Yep.
they?
Yep. A girl can dream.
Yeah, again too, it is this time of year, everybody knows I'm a big baseball fan too, and my team made it so close to the World Series this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were just 8 outs away from the World Series. It was the closest we've ever been. It was really awesome. But again, too, one of the things I love about baseball is it correlates with the garden as well, too, in this
Yes,
time of
wow,
year
yeah,
and
you're
the
right.
season and everything.
Yep.
But again, so we're at this point of time of year where we're saying to ourselves, well, there's always next year. You
There's
know,
always next
so
year.
now we're gonna think about, okay, are they gonna get that player or not? Is this gonna happen? And
Yeah.
these are kind of the planning stages as we get ready for spring training coming up this next year. And it's
Yep.
the same thing with our gardens, right? We're now at that point of like, okay, well, there's always next year, and we get to look back on how our season was and what did we do? What can we
Have a little
fix? What can we
retro, a little
Yeah,
retroactive. It's like, okay, what went well? What didn't go well? What can we
yeah. And
learn
then
from? I always
think
loved
about
winter
those perfect
reading about
dream
gardening
ones.
too.
Yeah.
Just like learning on the off season, I guess.
Yeah, great opportunity to be picking up some books and reading those ones you didn't get the time for, or during the busier time of the year. But yeah, definitely catching up on reading is a big goal of mine. More so because we do our gardening book club here on our show and
Oh,
everything. So I'm
nice.
always kind of like reviewing a book or reading some
Oh,
sort
what
of
are you
gardening
reading
book.
right now?
Right now we are reading, and I wish I had it with me, The Garlic Companion by Kristen
Oh,
Graves. So it's
ooh.
all on garlic and her, and kind of talks a little bit about her family
Oh,
farm that she's kind of taken over as a fifth generation
speaking of,
on
I
this.
just got some
Oh
Hudson
yes,
Valley Seed Company garlic that came in. I have my
oh
own that I'm
perfect,
gonna plant, but can I tell you the name of this variety? I had to
absolutely.
order it.
Names will
Ludnick,
catch you too, right?
Ludnick's Carpathian? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
yeah.
Carpathian garlic.
Right.
It's a variety of cold hardy rocambole type garlic known for rosy brown cloves that are easy to peel with a rich spicy flavor. How could I not order Bloodnick's
Right.
Carpathian garlic?
Right. It's a hardneck
Hardneck.
variety.
Yeah, I only grow
Yeah.
hardneck here.
Yeah.
Um, but I love growing garlic so much. And usually I don't buy new varieties because I just use what I
Yeah.
have. I set aside some to plant, but
Yeah.
I'm very
I
excited.
always try a new variety if one shows up in the mail somewhere that someone's
Yeah,
been growing and sends it off to me. In fact, that's how the couple of varieties that I do grow, those are from folks that have sent them to me years ago. In
nice.
fact, I always like to say I got sent one bulb that she sent me of this one variety, and I turned that into like 300 bulbs
It's magic.
within a couple of years.
It's amazing. That's the one thing I think if any friends are getting into gardening, some people
Yeah,
this is funny. I had one of my friends say this in terms of basically like we were talking about something and he said, "Oh, it'd be like, why would you grow your own garlic when you could just buy it at the store?" And I said, "You're talking to the wrong person because I firmly think that growing your own garlic is an incredibly worthwhile task because it is so flavorful. And
oh
the stuff you
yes,
get at the store is
yeah,
old. Like there's no
right.
comparison.
Yeah,
And
you
he's
don't know
not a
how old it
gardener,
is
but
for
he was
sure.
just making a statement about something. I was like, I'm gonna have to disagree. Use another metaphor because that we're not we don't
Yeah,
abide by that.
yeah. And again too, one of the things I was talking with someone. I think on the show just last week we were talking about it as well. Is that garlic is like this perfect kind of set it and forget it type
Yeah.
of crop that you can grow. You can grow it almost anywhere. I mean, I've grown it in some of the worst conditions and still got decent bulbs off of garlic,
Yeah.
and I always say, you don't really have to even be growing. It's nice to get the big fat cool bulbs just for the satisfaction of growing it. But I like to grow plenty, so it doesn't matter really how big they are or whatever. So I
Exactly.
still have plenty of it. And when it's coming fresh out of the garden, it's always the best, like you were
Do you grow
saying.
soft neck garlic?
I grow some of those just to grow those and show folks that you can just take those varieties right out of. I always say get them out of the organic section of the
Yes.
supermarket if you're out there, and that's the only place you have to access some garlic seed.
Right.
Those are perfectly fine, and that's
Yep.
usually what you're going to find in a grocery store is a soft neck variety. You know,
Because they
um,
store longer. Is that right? That's like a
yeah, they're a couple.
longer
They get a couple
storage?
of extra months of
Yeah.
storage on it, which makes them more. for grocery stores, because that's kind of the thing we're
Right.
looking for is shelf life, which gets back to what
Exactly.
you're saying is that we don't know really. You buy some garlic at the store unless it's already processed in a jar or something.
Yeah, which I
Is buying
can't
up
do. No
flow.
hate. No, I know
Yeah,
it's easy
right.
sometimes, but I'm I'm a food snob. That's honestly how I
Yeah,
got into gardening in the first place is I love to cook. And I was like,
yeah.
listen, if I love to cook so much, I want to be
Mhm.
working with the best ingredients and like the
Yes.
freshest ingredients. And there were I used to this is a quick sort of anecdote, but we used to live in Brooklyn, New York, and there was a food co-op that we were members of, and you had to be a member in order to shop there. And as a member, you had to work like a 4-hour shift once a month. And I was in the
Oh,
produce department. And I think it was a great environment because I mean, it was very like community oriented. But I remember they would get all of these really unique varieties, and it was all from
mm,
farms in New York, like Hudson Valley. And these varieties of leafy greens would come in and mushrooms and all sorts of like varieties of different fruits. And
oh, yeah.
I hadn't I mean, I grew up gardening with my parents, but it was very like you grow big boy tomatoes or early girls or whatever they had in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, interesting. Like what is this?" So that sort of piqued my interest. And then that's shortly after we moved to California. I said, let me start a garden." And then you just dive in because you're like, the varieties, you're not getting these
Yeah.
in a grocery store, and they're so flavorful. And a lot of, I mean, you know this, like a lot of stuff that
Mhm.
has been
Yeah.
cultivated and bred is for storage, like
Yeah.
shelf life and transportation.
Exactly.
And that's why I love. Do you know Row 7 Seeds? Have you heard of this company?
I don't think I have. Row
So
7?
so there's a chef in New York, Dan Barber, and I believe he was like a partner in starting this seed company because he is a chef at this restaurant. It's like Blue Hill Stone Barns in New York.
Okay.
And he sort of had this premise of like, how, like, why do certain things not taste that good? Like, they look pretty, but they don't, where's the flavor? So he
Mhm.
started this seed company with the intention of like growing the best tasting produce.
Right.
And these farmers were like, nobody's ever asked us to grow the best tasting stuff before. So they grow
Right.
certain like butternut squash that are just incredibly flavorful, but like they're smaller and they're not as uniform and they don't look like the squash that you would get at the
Mhm.
store. So you can get varieties that grocery stores aren't going to want to buy. I mean, maybe now they will because there's more of an interest, but so you
Yeah.
can be a little food snobby when you garden.
That's true, and again, that was one of the big kind of realizations or awakenings that I had in the garden early on too. Was, I similar for me. I didn't really have much gardening experience at all, really. So getting to see fresh stuff or things
Yeah.
like that wasn't necessarily a big part of what I knew or understood. So when I came into growing and gardening, everything was kind of new to me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of all the stuff at the grocery store that you find, like just the basic green leaf lettuce or the different, tomatoes that, there's just all of these things that I was used to from there that I discover now as I'm growing in my garden is like, oh, wait a minute, all of these different heirloom varieties of
I
tomatoes and
know.
all of that. They're not these perfect round tomatoes I'm used to in the
Yeah.
store, but they're these cool knobby looking different colored
Yep.
varieties of tomatoes that got these different flavor profiles and everything that was just completely new to me. So it was really the ability to be able to grow in my own backyard, my own alleyway gardens, these different varieties of things that took me off of the grocery store shelves and into a whole different experience of these different fruits and vegetables that we can have. And
Yeah.
that's really the fun of it. Like you're saying, there's so many really cool different seed, again, I was mentioning earlier with Anna, from Reckless Garden, that the seed catalogs are going to be showing up here in the next week or two, and so there's going to be all these just amazing cool varieties of things
Yeah.
that we can try and we can grow for ourselves in our garden. Just really, really increases that overall experience.
Yeah. there's a I know you have your book club, but there's a sort of along the same vein. There's a good book I read called Eating to Extinction. I'm blanking on the author, but it was sort of about how, because farmers and like we only grow a limited number of varieties of these plants,
Yeah.
talking about how like the implications of a changing climate, like what that will do, because those plants aren't as resilient. Like if you're only growing one or
Yeah.
two varieties of potatoes or corn, and if the climate changes, those plants aren't really adapting to a new climate, and then you're kind of shut out of luck. Like it's from a food security standpoint, it's kind of worrisome that we've lost the like breadth of varieties. So I think it's I think the heirloom I think heirloom seeds are really interesting moving forward. But this book was very eye-opening because it's like, oh, there are so few
there's
varieties that are actually cultivated in terms of
we
like,
can find that experience even myself within my own garden, is that there used to be varieties of tomatoes I could grow, and I'd get all these great varieties of tomatoes, 12 years ago, just right here in the same garden space. I could grow all these great varieties. Well, it's gotten a lot warmer. Our summers are a lot hotter. We've got more 100-degree days each and every summer than we had the previous summers, so that bears down and stresses out our plants. And I've tried growing varieties that I used to have no problem growing years ago and just can't do it, because it's just they don't handle the heat as well. So I've been searching out and trying to find different varieties over the last couple of years of more heat resistant varieties that grow well in those hotter temperatures during the summertime. And there are those varieties out there, and that's kind of the point too, is that more and more those are going to have to be developed and in some senses hybridized to be able to grow and sustain certain temperatures and everything, from certain heirlooms. That again is kind of sad, because those are generational type varieties that hopefully will be able to be, those lineages and genes will be kept alive in other regions of the world, but it's just kind of a bummer that in some places like my own backyard, there's just certain varieties I'm not really going to be able to grow very well.
It's it's weird seeing it. I think so often about how I'm not envious of like large scale farmers. Like when I think about the complexity of feeding a nation, feeding the world, I'm like, it is so difficult to grow things. Like you are swimming upstream, and like especially growing things organically with like, I really don't even use any fertilizers. I do compost, and that's kind of it. Because otherwise I think we're just kind of kicking the can down the road. It's like, well, you can use a lot of synthetic fertilizers, but there's so many externalities and like downstream implications of that like you can grow things this season, but 20 years down the line, like we are not going to be at a good position.
And that really comes down to a lot of the corporate farming, corporate things that are going on. When it comes down to that, I could talk all day about how
I know that's a whole
bothers
separate
me. But the really important part of all of that, though, really, is us gardeners learning again too. It's one of the things I love about the gardening community. I don't run into most people I talk to through this show or otherwise feel the same way. And that's kind of something that's something we share as gardeners, is caring for our soil, caring for our land, doing those things properly too, in organic sustainable methods and things that and practices and things that we can all be trying and working on each season to season, and sharing with each other how we do and how we utilize those things in our own practice, so that others can figure that as well too, because really that's how we're going to be keeping these sort of things alive, as more and more smaller organic farms are going to be swallowed up
Yeah.
and where it's just really going to be reliant on us, maybe more market gardeners and backyard gardeners and folks who are trying to keep these sort of practices alive going forward in the face of these other things. And things that again, there's 8 going on 10 billion of us in the next couple generations, and they've all got to eat somehow in some way. And
Thing.
again,
I know
it's
it breaks my brain to think of, but I
Mhm.
think like I really just try to when I get overwhelmed like that, I just think, okay, what can I focus on here
Yep.
in my yard, in my local community? I recently joined
Yeah.
our town has like an agricultural commission, and
Oh, that's
I
nice.
joined that, and I was like, I really do think gardening can be such a solitary activity that, but I think in the local community, I live in a pretty small town, and I think more and more as the climate changes, like it's really helpful to be able to talk to people like, hey, what are you
Mhm.
noticing? What's performing well where you are? Because you can read a generic gardening book or find YouTube channels, and those are helpful to sort of give you
Yeah.
a bird's eye view. But when it comes down to it, like you want to know what works well in your microclimate. And I think I would encourage anybody to like, if you move to a new spot, one of the
Mhm.
first things I did was I went and talked to a local nursery and I found the owner. I was like, hey, when am I planting tomatoes here?
Yes.
What give me the, he said, never put them in the ground before Memorial Day. And wouldn't you know, he was right because inevitably we get a cold night. I'm like,
Yeah.
he was
It
right.
teases you. It makes you think it's all gonna be
Yep. You're
okay.
like, "Oh, I could do it May 1st. This is really warm." Nope, not here. No, you will not.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think just having that community resource
It's
to
such an important point though too, is that, yeah, I love the whole overall global gardening community,
yeah,
especially that we have online and through our YouTube channels and Insta gardeners and all of the folks out there who are really kind of sharing and bringing people together in this community. But yeah, it's really kind of important to remember that your best gardening practices are learned locally where you're at,
yeah,
where your garden's at. And that means just kind of reaching out just outside of your garden, go to find, if you can find a university extension service that you might have
absolutely.
locally to you, or again, a community garden is a great place to go and meet folks who are growing and gardening and exchange ideas and information, or learn about other organizations in your area. Or as I've done too before, I've just wandered around the neighborhood and seen folks playing around in a garden
Yeah,
and stopped them and said, "Hey, how did you grow this, pumpkin, or how did you
yep.
grow this tomato?" And just kind of get talking with them
And
and
they love
find
to
those people
chat,
locally
right?
that
Like,
anybody, yeah,
I
anybody that's gonna
know.
spend the time outside to be in their garden spaces are gonna love to sit and talk to you and probably go on for the next hour. You gotta be careful when you get in
I know.
these conversations, but you go on and on and on because you wanna, for one, they wanna share what they're doing too,
Right.
and then, if you're, into learning more about some of this stuff like I am, a conversation can really go in all sorts of, fun directions with gardeners in your neighborhood too. So again, that's the best really advice for most gardeners, especially new gardeners too, is to really start local. There's
Yes.
all of us. It's fun to follow our channels. It's fun to follow along and read about what you're doing through your blog and newsletter and all that. But really reach out to some of those local folks and get some
Yeah.
of that really good local information. Really, really good stuff. All right, let's see here. I know we had another question or
I know.
so in
I was
here. I wanted to
scrolling through. I
jump
saw a
in. I
couple.
kind of marked one here. Jay did put in earlier, though, too. She did want me to mention to let you know that the front page of your website makes her hungry.
Thank you so much.
Chock full of
I
delicious looking
appreciate
food.
that. Yeah, my
Yeah.
website is sort of it's like half the year I focus more on like cooking and baking,
Yeah.
and um then I try to sprinkle in more like evergreen gardening
Yeah.
content too. I hate the word content, but you know what I mean.
Exactly. I do too. I just don't know
I know
about
it's
that word,
the
but it's
egg.
the word though
It's
too.
the
So
word.
sometimes you
I
just have
say
to
it and
say
I
it.
just know that if I ever say the word content or the word creator, I'm like wanting to barf at myself because I think it's gross. But it is what it is. It's 2025.
I feel you. That's right.
Yeah.
It's the world we live in.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Right on. Let's see here. Let me David sent in several great, he always got some good
I know
questions
the
to
chat has been
better
popping. I've been trying
I
to.
know here. Let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. He has this one. Okay, he must be watching something you're doing here recently. You reuse coffee cups and berry boxes.
Oh,
What sparked your passion for upcycling in the garden?
I really don't. I mean, I think I've just been a lifelong. I always joke. I'm like a hippie at heart. My parents were
Right.
back to the landers. I grew up composting. I just hate waste. I really do. And I think stuff is only single use if you use it once.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're buying like a bear, I always joke if I'm buying like, I just bought a gigantic jar of pickles. Like, I'm not joking. This thing is this big because I was going to buy pickles at the
Oh,
store.
yes.
And I said, why would I buy a small jar when this jar, when it's empty, will be perfect for storage? So
Yeah.
I never recycle glass jars. I hoard them like a little squirrel hoarding nuts for winter. And then clamshells like berry boxes, or if you don't grow leafy greens, you can, those big clamshells they come in, those make a
Yeah.
great little makeshift heat dome. I've started seeds in them. I've done
Mm-hmm.
microgreens. I
Yes.
hate because recycling, this is another one. It's a scam. It's like, yes, it
Right.
works, but the onus has been put on consumers to take care of the waste that I think companies should be responsible for,
Mm-hmm.
and other
Right.
countries do
There's
not just
just so much
willy-nilly
of
use
it. Yeah.
plastic.
Yep.
So, sorry.
Well, then
I
it's
think
for a lot of the folks who really do care and make efforts to do stuff to feel like it's all on them.
yeah.
And when it's
Meanwhile,
really
billionaires
not,
are taking private
when
jets
it,
all around the world,
right, right. And
but we recycle. So,
they can't help folks find the best ways to reuse or recycle or do things with the waste that they are producing.
yeah,
That's a great point. I mean, I completely agree with that. There's just so much of it that
I
it's going to
know.
take bigger efforts that
Yeah.
really, those companies, we allow them to get so big that they should be the ones who are taking on those efforts.
Yeah, and it was like part of the marketing ploy. It was like, "Oh, we'll have consumers in charge of recycling." It's like, obviously
Yeah.
recycle. I'm not saying don't recycle. I'm
Hmm.
saying recycle, and we need to hold companies responsible for like the products that they're creating, and not just shunting that off on us, cuz that's not fair.
Right, right, exactly. It's completely, and another thing too is how much, like, you get the recycling bin that you've got out front that you put things in and everything, but have you ever seen the list of things that you just can't put
I,
in there that you just would think would go into a
and
recycling bin?
most people are not as conscientious. Like, people want to do the right thing, but it's
Mhm.
hard. Like, you have to look at all
Yeah.
the, and then you can't you have to throw away the label of this and recycle that. And one thing I don't do, but I've seen people do that I'm interested. Maybe I'll look it up this year. Have you heard of the concept of eco bricking? Do you
Eco
know
bricking.
eco bricking? Maybe
I don't
somebody
think I
can,
have.
I can drop the link, but it's people will take larger plastic containers and put in smaller pieces of plastic that aren't able to actually be recycled, but you don't want to just put in the trash because then who knows where it's going to go if it floats around. And you'll create these bricks, and then you can, I think, send them in
Mhm.
somewhere,
Oh,
and they
wow.
can. I see. I'm fuzzy on this. I just know the concept
Right.
of it. But I know sometimes they'll use them for building materials. But that's
Wow.
one. I've been saving some large, like, milk jugs. I told my husband, I was like, we're gonna be eco bricking. I don't know enough about it right now, but I'm gonna start. And he was like, okay, whatever you
Yeah,
want. He knows not to ask too many questions. Eco
yeah,
bricking is a reusable
right,
building block. Yes, clean dry. That's exactly it. So I got
yeah,
the gist of it. Um,
that's great.
yeah, divert it from
But again,
landfills.
yeah, and again too, though, another thing though that's really kind of put on folks to feel kind of like in a way, that you got to be,
Yeah.
which is fun in a way, as we find them and we want to do things because we care. I'm trying to recycle best I can. I'm reusing things the best I can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take things and do the best I can as a person and an individual. But again, coming back to what we were saying when it comes to food and all of that, there's 8+ billion of us on this planet
Yeah.
just going through things like crazy. So it takes larger organizations and entities to be able to handle just the
Yeah.
mass amount of things that need to be handled, that not any of us individuals or even small percentages of us collected together are really doing much. And especially with the limitations that are also put on that as well. Like I said, I can
Yeah.
go on
I
about
know.
this, especially the also too, to find that like some of these folks who collect these recycle bins, these waste management companies, were just throwing the stuff in the landfills anyways.
I know. What I have
To
to
find
drop
out
one
that's
more.
happening, right?
If anybody has Netflix, there is a
Mm.
documentary called, I think it's called Buy Now, and it will
Buy as in BUY.
BUY,
Yep.
Buy Now. And it's a lot about what we're talking about, just how much waste is generated, and like you can't even, it is mind-boggling amount, and it will
Mhm.
make you sick to your stomach. So it's a good movie to watch going into the holiday season.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Trying
a nice refresher of like, oh yikes.
Every
We're
now and then, whenever I get on this subject, I think about this character in a movie from way back in the 80s. I can't remember what her name was, but I just remember being in, like, talking to, like, a therapist, a psychologist or something, and doing
yeah.
one of those sessions, and she's just like, I can't stop thinking about the garbage."
Yeah.
Like, and this was back then, and I know they still do to a certain level too, is load up a bunch of landfill waste because there's no space for it. They put it on these big barges and ship them off to China or other
Yep.
places that'll buy our garbage from us and deal with it over there as well.
Yep.
So
You
there's
would
these
you would
boats that
enjoy
get
the
stuck out with a whole
documentary.
bunch of garbage on it, and I'm just like,
It's
So again, too, I think
yeah,
about that all the time, man. It's
I
just
know. That's my
unbelievable.
that's have you heard of the concept of like it's like my Roman Empire? Have you ever heard this?
I
Somebody
don't
somebody did something where
know.
it was like they asked their boyfriend, it's like, "How often do you think about the Roman Empire?" He said, "Every day." And it was a whole thing where it was like, guys say they think about the Roman Empire every day. So then women took
Right.
it and it was like, "My Roman Empire is," and I would say waste and trash and that sort of thing is my Roman Empire. I think about it once a day. It's
Oh my,
the shopping
yeah.
conspiracy. Yes. That's I know you have a book club, but that can be, you can discuss it next time. It is
Right, one I might have to do for my off-season reading,
yeah.
The
It's a
Shopping
good one.
Conspiracy. Yeah.
It's
But yeah,
depressing, but
like I
it's
said, that
also
stuff will get yeah, for real. I
when you
can
know
go
better,
on and
you can
on
do
about that.
better.
Yeah, and again too, and it doesn't mean again too that there's any real reason to not do things that make us feel like we're giving some sort of effort in doing
Totally.
some of this stuff too, because I feel like whatever contribution we can at least try to make is that much more than
Yes.
what was before, right? So
Just
again,
because you can't do everything
raindrops,
doesn't,
right?
don't let that
Raindrops.
stop people from doing something, right? Like I think
Raindrops
it can
will
be
add up.
overwhelming. Raindrops will
For
add
sh-
up. Yes.
That's right, they will. All
Yes.
right, let's see here too. I want to get one more of these in here because, okay. I know that noticed that again, I see you mostly over on, and I met you through Instagram years
Yes.
ago, that where you did Front Yard Veggies there too. You also mentioned again too your newsletter, which you do, which is really great. It's really
Thank you.
awesome. So I
Yep.
really encourage people. There is a link down below in the description to Amy's website where you can sign up for the newsletter. I really encourage you to do that.
And it's always
That's really awesome.
free. I'm so sick of subscription. I can't do another
Yeah, I know, it's
subscription. I
hard to
can't do
think
it.
about. I gotta think
It's
about but
hard. I know.
yeah. But yeah, definitely go do that. Check that out. But I did notice also recently you kind of did, and you've been on YouTube,
I
but you kind
I
of did kind of like hi, this is Front Yard Veggies, like welcome back, kind
yes,
of like,
yep.
or here we are,
I'm
kind of
actually
a
trying on
reintroduction. So
YouTube
it kind of
now.
makes me feel like, yeah, again, you setting your foot back into and getting
Yes.
serious about making some more YouTube longer form content.
Well, I'm so sick of short form content and I'm really burnt out with social
Yeah,
media and um TikTok I think is like changing
right.
ownership
Oh,
hands and I've got about 100,000 followers over there and I'm just like I don't want to be here anymore. So and I said, "Let me turn
yeah.
my sights back to YouTube." To which
Hmm.
my husband has been telling me to do for years and I was like, "I just don't have time. I hate editing video." And he's like, "I love editing video." So
There
I've
you
got some
go.
free labor now. So anything you see is because I love to chat and I love to talk gardening and I love filming,
Yeah.
but after
Mhm.
that I can't edit it. So he's on board now. So yes, I have been making more of a concerted effort there, which is fun. I love YouTube. I watch it all the
Yeah,
time. So
yeah, absolutely. And
it's
again, like
been
you
nice
said,
to
even though they've had this kind of reels for the last couple of years of kind of taking some attention and all of that, I think people are really kind of reverting back to what you were talking about, this kind of idea that, wait a minute, YouTube really had it going on.
yes.
That's really where it's at. It's where, you get to really know people versus just this quick little, flashy moments that you get with these reels within a minute or two
Yeah.
that they're limited to. So people are kind of coming back to the idea of this more longer form content, and especially
Yes.
again too for shows like ours and everything as well, kind of podcasts kind of coming to video, so people can get them in kind of show form like we're doing
Yeah.
here, and no matter kind of what your interest is, you can kind of find this going on throughout YouTube. And because I think people are kind of coming back to this whole idea.
People are hungry for reclaiming their attention spans. Like I don't want to I don't
Mhm.
like making short form content. I don't enjoy consuming it. I give me a 5-hour long podcast about a subject and I'm in. A
Yeah,
30-second reels. Ugh.
right.
But it's hard.
Yeah,
I make them because I'm like this is sort of what
this
you have
what
to
this is
do.
to get
It's
the
the
it's the attention cycle, you gotta, there are
I
things
hate
that
it.
again too I have to think about, and I have to make changes and do certain
I
things
know.
if I want to grow this sort of thing into something. But again, it comes back to that idea is like some of it doesn't make me very, like we were talking about content or
Yeah.
creator, you know what I
Oh,
mean? It
I
just doesn't
know.
feel the best because of what we prefer, but it's
Yeah.
also kind of what's being asked for if we want to be able to get more people into our communities and
It's a
follow along with what
necessary
we're
evil at
doing.
this point, and, I mean, social
Yeah.
media is great. I've met wonderful people on there, and there are good
Hmm.
points of it, but I think I'm just
Yeah.
so
Just
being on my
generally,
phone.
I would rather be doing this than that. So a
Yes,
little bit of that, more of this,
100%.
right? Yeah. And I think that's kind of Bowtie was asking here a little bit. He's like, what keeps you filming and sharing, even when the garden feels imperfect or messy? Kind of
I
getting
mean,
into that. Make this our last question for the day here.
so I think when I remember when I first started gardening and it felt like
Hmm.
everybody had it figured out and everybody had perfect gardens, and then I realized that a lot of people were gardening is big for retirees with lots of time on their hands, and a lot of the gardeners I found I realized didn't have children. Children take up a lot of time. I gone are the
Yeah,
days where we could knock out like a 10-hour day of projects and building things.
yeah,
So I found myself getting a little discouraged. I was like, oh God, like this is not attainable and my garden is always going to be crappy. And then I realized, no, I just want to show how I do it with a busy life while not sacrificing having a garden because it's not going to be perfect. This is how you can do it. And nothing's ever going to be perfect. And,
mhm,
it's always going to be a little messy. So just
that's right,
authentically sharing that, like, hey, you can do this. It doesn't have to be perfect to enjoy it.
that's right, absolutely. Well, right on. Excellent. And excellent questions, everybody. Thanks for bringing those to the conversation
Great
for
chat, guys.
sure. Absolutely. And again, too, I'll just mention too that is one of the big changes as well too since the last time I saw you in person. Is you're a mom now,
Yes.
so really congratulations on all of that too. I bet that's been real fun.
It's been really fun, and it's been very quiet here today because my husband took both of them out for a bike ride. I was like, "I need them
Oh, excellent.
out of the house because if they're in the house, they would not I would not get an hour of silence." I'll tell you that right now.
Absolutely. Well, thanks to your husband for doing that to give us the time to hang out with you again to
Yes.
catch up because again, it's just really wonderful to see you again.
Thank you for
Uh,
inviting me on. I was so happy
yeah,
to hear from you and do this.
absolutely. And again, too, really excited about seeing what you got coming up on Front Yard Veggies on YouTube. Like I said, I
As
got
they
the
say,
link
watch
down
this
below for
space. I
everybody.
know, I'm excited to be putting more videos
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Yeah, especially as we get moving into a whole new season. So again, it'll be kind of exciting to kind of take folks along with just how you kind of get all that going and get everything
Yeah,
running into next
I'm gonna
season.
document the whole imperfect seed starting setup in my basement, just soup to nuts, how the sausage gets made out there.
Absolutely. Right on, right on. Well, again, great to have you here on with us. So, and maybe stick around for an extra minute as I finish up the show here. But uh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And again, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing with all of us today.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone with the great questions. I love chatting gardening, so you made this a delight.
Right on. Excellent. Yes, again, thanks everybody. So awesome. The chat's really, really great around here. So right on. We'll see you here in just a minute. Let's see. Boom, there. So yeah, I still got to get used to all this new setup here and everything. But again, thank you, Amy, for being on the show with us today. Front Yard Veggies, her website and YouTube link right down below for all of you. Go over there and check out one of her new videos. Leave a comment. Let her know you saw her on the Let's Get Growing show, as well as Anna Cramer from The Reckless Garden too. Definitely go over there, show her channel some love, go subscribe, and follow along with all of her videos over there as well too. So again, thanks to them for being here with us today. I told you we're going to have some great fun conversations with some more guests here on the great guests here on the show. So again, thank you everybody for being here with us as well too. Just want to mention a couple shows we got coming up here. I mentioned earlier tomorrow on the show we've got Dr. Jeff, an appointment with Dr. Jeff tomorrow. Jeffrey Pierce will be joining with us, talk all about gardening and medicine and this new little ebook and things that they put together as well. So definitely bring some of your questions for Dr. Jeff tomorrow on our Sunday edition of the show. And as well, too, we'll be back here next week, next Saturday on the show. We'll have with us Andrew Millison. He is an Oregon State University permaculture specialist and really has an amazing, cool YouTube channel that you'll all have to go and check out. We'll talk a bit about with him too. He has this really cool like glass thing that he does these really awesome illustrations like live on his videos and everything. It's really one of the coolest things I've seen. But we'll talk with him all about that coming up this next Saturday on the show. And then next Sunday on the show is the second Sunday of the month. So that means we've got our good friend Gardner Scott back with us. Gardner Scott from the Gardner Scott channel is here for Ask Gardner Scott, where he'll answer all of your gardening questions too. So if you got any real good gardening questions that you need to get answered, definitely come in and join with us next Sunday for the show with Gardner Scott, where he'll answer all of those gardening questions for you. And then also coming up the next Sunday after that, we do have our monthly gardening book club that we were talking about and mentioning there a little bit earlier with Amy. We got our monthly gardening book club coming up November 16th. And this month of November, we're featuring The Garlic Companion by Kristen Graves. It's just a really great book all about garlic. And yeah, just some really great stuff here. Can't wait to talk all about The Garlic Companion with our good friend, Mr. MBC, joining with us, as well as Kristen Graves, author of the book. So you want to come and join with us there. And again, I know everybody's out there getting ready to plant all of their garlic. So it's just the perfect time of year to talk about this really, really awesome book. So right on, everybody. Again, thank you all so much for being here. Just really great to have you here with us. If you can, before we head out today, let's hit that like button, click the thumbs up, as well as subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of upcoming videos and live streams, and share with all your friends. Let them know we're here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And right now it's 6 p.m. for all of you over in the UK, but we'll be back to 7 p.m. when our times change here this Sunday. But again, thank you all so much for being here. Follow all the links down below in the description for all of our guests. And I look forward to seeing all of you for the Sunday edition of the show. We'll be back here same time tomorrow. So I'll see you all then.
All right, take the run. See you on the flippy flops.